Chapter 1. Chapter 1. My 40-year-old husband seems to be in love again. The sneakers were replaced with handmade leather shoes, and the underwear was also changed to high elastic seamless pink style. The partner is 3 years younger than our daughter, and I heard he has just reached adulthood. The girl didn't want to hide it, and her husband also took her to various occasions in a high-profile manner. Everyone said that he had done his best for me. I am handsome and rich, and I hold the financial power of the family, which is better than other men. I should tolerate this hat. At first, I really endured it, until the little girl came to me with a wronged look on her face, begging me to fulfill her love. Her eyes were sparkling, just like me when I was reckless. But now, I have fine lines at the corners of my eyes, and I see a white hair by my ear when I wake up in the morning. Girl, I can get a divorce. Of course I was teasing her. Kulanlan didn't understand and blinked in surprise. Sister, are you really willing to give up your seat? Okay, so what are you going to do? She pouted and thought about it. I plan to go to the Maldives for my honeymoon and then give him a son. Sister, you don't know, he really wants a son and keeps pestering me to give him one. Mu Yuanfeng wants a son. It was clearly because he felt sorry for my heavy bleeding that he took the initiative to get a vasectomy. After all, times are different now. I immediately lost the desire to tease her. He leaned back with his arms folded. Lan, huh? I was just kidding you. Mu Yuanfeng and I have been married for 20 years, and our two businesses have long been tied together. It's impossible for us to get divorced. Instead of thinking about where to spend your honeymoon, you should think about how to make more money from him. After returning home, Mu Yuanfeng sat on the sofa and read documents. Time has really been kind to him. Even though he is already in his 40s, his brows only look a little more mature, which makes people feel more nervous. When he heard me come back, he didn't even raise his head. This is the tacit understanding we have had in our 20 years of getting along. As long as I don't speak, it is assumed that there is nothing to talk about. I went into the kitchen and soon brought out 3 dishes and a soup. Mu Yuanfeng put down his phone and sat down at the dining table. Yaya said she will be back during the National Day holiday and wants you to pick her up. Good. My mother-in-law hasn't been feeling well lately. I need to go get a checkup. Okay, you handle it. The toilet at home is a bit slippery. I want to find someone to redecorate it. Okay, I'll listen to you. Lan came to see me. He finally looked up from the bowl and glanced at me. Indifferent, apathetic, and a little doubtful. Then what? His mistress came to my house and he asked me then? Even though I'm used to having no temper, I was still choked. She frowned and looked at him. Mu Yuanfeng, we are husband and wife, and you are cheating on me now. I don't know which word irritated him, but he put the bowl down with a bang. Molly, don't say such harsh words. Lan is still a child. We are not in the relationship you think. Don't talk nonsense. Child? How come I didn't know that Mu Yuanfeng was already so good at deceiving himself? We parted on bad terms at this dinner. I thought the stalemate would last for a while. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Unexpectedly, the next day, when I came home after buying groceries, I actually saw Lan in the living room. She was wearing the slippers I bought for my daughter and was watching Mu Yuanfeng peeling an apple for her. Yuan, you are so amazing. Your skin doesn't even break. Heh, what a fuss. Here, eat slowly. Looking at the round and translucent apple, my mouth felt bitter. I loved eating apples, and he learned the skill of peeling apples for me. I never thought that he would use it on another woman. Lan sat happily on the sofa, swinging her fair legs. I noticed that Mu Yuanfeng's eyes darkened. That was the symbol he wanted. He pulled her over and held her on his lap. Before the two of them could get close to each other, I pushed the door open and walked in. Seeing me coming, Lan did not leave Mu Yuanfeng, but just tilted her head to look at me. Oh, sister, we meet again. Sorry, I sprained my ankle, Brother Mu is helping me. Sister, you don't mind, right? She twisted twice and Mu Yuanfeng groaned. I was protected so well in the first half of my life that now I don't know how to fight back. Beat her like a bitch? Or scratch the man's face? It doesn't seem like a wise move. Let's get a divorce. I've been married to him for 20 years and I own half of his property. If they get divorced, there should be hundreds of millions. Then find a young guy? I was stunned when I realized that my thoughts had run to some ridiculous place. I don't know whether I should marvel at my own endurance or restrain my excitement about a free life. After thinking about it, I put the dishes on the table. She turned to Mu Yuanfeng and said, "Let's get a divorce." Mu Yuanfeng disagreed, arguing that he had not made any principled mistakes. He also mobilized relatives and friends to persuade me. My parents-in-law, whom I have taken care of for 20 years, said that he had not cheated on me physically, so it would be better to be patient with him. When the time comes, they will come forward and ask him to transfer 5% of the company's shares to me. A mutual friend of Mu Yuanfeng and I said that the girl was only after money, and if I left, wouldn't that just be what she wanted? Mu Yuanfeng's business was booming, and his worth was getting higher and higher. Only a fool would give his wealth to others at this time. My best friend is also getting divorced recently. Her husband also cheated on her. The only difference between her and me is that her husband is poor and ugly. She sighed and advised me to forget it. Any man who can breathe will cheat on his wife. Mu Yuanfeng at least has money. You see, it seems that having money has become a get-out-of-jail-free ticket that can pardon all sins in marriage. I didn't say anything and continued preparing the documents related to the divorce. My father also came when he heard the news, and slapped me in the face as soon as he entered the door. His face turned red with anger. What kind of man doesn't socialize? What's wrong with having 1 or 2 women? Isn't it enough that he has been good to you for 20 years? Do you have to end up in a miserable divorce? You are 40 years old now, who would dare to want you after the divorce? His face was beaming with rosy glow. It seemed that his stepmother took good care of him and his new brother was also well behaved. Naturally, he didn't care whether I felt wronged or not. The last person to come and persuade me was my daughter who was in college. Chapter 3. Chapter 3. When she came back, I subconsciously wanted to hug her. She pushed him away and asked, "Why do you insist on divorcing your father?" I was so confident in front of everyone, but I shrank back. Your father has another woman, and Mom doesn't want to live with him anymore. Is that Lon Lon? Dad has already said that she is just a friend. My daughter looked at me impatiently, her expression exactly the same as Mu Yuanfeng's. Mom, you've been pampered your whole life, can you really handle a divorce? If you're not used to it by then, I won't care about you. To be honest, before she came back, I always thought that at least this child whom I raised would give me a hug. She would angrily beat her father and question why he bullied her mother. Then she would stand on the same line with me and firmly draw a line with the cheating man. Unexpectedly, as soon as she came back, she got very angry at me and went upstairs angrily. Bang! The door slammed shut with such a deafening sound that even my soul trembled. Molly, how did you become like this? When taking a bath in the evening, Mu Yuanfeng came into the bathroom after a long absence. It has been a year since the last time we were intimate. When he came in, he looked at me with a cold look. But his hands didn't stop, and they moved over my body skillfully. Don't be angry, okay? I will send her away tomorrow and will never appear in front of you again. My body gradually became warmer, but my heart became colder. I closed my eyes and let the tears mixed with water droplets fall. Mu Yuanfeng. Did you guys sleep? The answer is self-evident, anger is rising. You really make me sick. That Lon Lon is the same age as our daughter. Even if he had found someone in her 20s or 30s, would have thought that the man was lustful, but he chose a girl the same age as our daughter. The girl was so young and just entering society, how could he have the heart to do that to her? Mu Yuanfeng was angry and pushed me away. My ankle was in great pain, and before I could look, he grabbed my chin and dragged me to the mirror. I'm disgusting. What about you? Aren't you disgusting? Look at your dog-chewed hair. How can you be feminine? Look at your breasts. They have sagged all over your belly. And look at your face. There are so many spots on it that it's hard to eat. Molly, are you still a woman now? He pinched my chest viciously, with a cold look in his eyes. Let's live like this. I promise you will have no worries about food and clothing for the rest of your life. If we get divorced, you will definitely live a life worse than death. I was still shaking all over until Mu Yuanfeng had been gone for a long time. I can't believe that people who have been in love for 20 years can say such things, or, he has changed a long time ago, and I am just too blind to see it. I clenched my hands tightly and let the blood flow down my palms. As the intense pain came, my brain became clearer. Mu Yuanfeng, do you think I can't do anything to you? You can do whatever you want. Just wait, I'm going to get a divorce. When I went downstairs the next day, Mu Yuanfeng had prepared a rare meal. My daughter was eating, but when she saw me, she lowered her head again, as if she didn't want to pay attention to me. Xiaohu B, OT file anti-piracy, look for a book robot and choose Xiaohu. It is stable and reliable, you 1T fall into pitfalls. Chapter 4. Chapter 4. Instead, he acted like a good guy and coaxed the child softly. Yaya, we agreed yesterday that you would forgive your mother. The daughter then reluctantly called out, Mom. The kid must be tired from the car ride yesterday. Come and have dinner. I made your favorite sandwich. He and I looked into each other's eyes, with undisguised pride in his eyes. I didn't say anything. After a while, the doorbell rang and the servant came in with Lon Lon. Mrs. Mu, good morning. I'm here to deliver some documents to Mr. Mu. They shook hands openly, but the daughter didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Instead, she invited Lon Lon to have dinner. Lon Lon hesitated for a moment, then turned around and sat in my seat. As if she was angry with me, Muya placed my breakfast in front of her. I poured her a glass of orange juice, which is my favorite drink. Lon Lon also tried her best to please Muya. After the two exchanged school information, they found out that they were university alumni. Hey, Muya, you have a good personality. I thought you would dislike me like Mrs. Mu. My mom is going through menopause recently and is very suspicious. She insists that you and my dad are having an affair. Don't pay any attention to her. After the meal, the two became good friends. I stopped listening when Muya said I was suspicious and walked out of the house. I'm going to find someone, an old classmate whom I haven't seen for more than 10 years. My first love, the gold medal lawyer Yin Qingxi. In the coffee shop, Yin Qingxi and I told her that I wanted to divorce. He snorted coldly. Are you willing to do that? Even though he is old, he still has such a bad temper. If I had been more gentle, why would I have broken up with him in the first place? Too lazy to say more to this stubborn guy, I took out a card from my bag. I've inquired. Your current market value is 1 million. Here is $500,000. I'll pay the other half after the divorce. Business is business, don't talk about feelings. Yin Qingxi played with the card and then put it into her bag. Okay, Mr. Sponsor. On the way back, he said he would take me home. Compared to my family reunion, he has been living a much more miserable life these years. I heard that his wife died of illness a few years ago, and they have no children. He simply put all his thoughts on work, and his career flourished, and he became a top lawyer in Shenzhen. Yin Qingxi's car is a flashy Maserati that makes a loud noise when it drives. I frowned. At your age, why do you still like such flashy things? I don't know why his wife fell in love with him in the first place. Yin Qingxi raised an eyebrow. You used to like it too, have you forgotten? It choked me. I did like this kind of fancy stuff when I was in my 20s, but who can still play with it at the age of 40? It's true that I have a lot of energy. I didn't want to talk to him anymore, so after getting off the bus, I transferred another 300 yuan to him. CC, the fare. Okay, Mr. Sponsor. Although the car was fancy, Ian Chingsi taught me a lot of preparations before divorce. Following his instructions, I found a way to find out the situation of Mu Yuanfeng's bank account, and hired a private detective to take a picture of the address of his mistress. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. That was a house I bought before I got married. We lived there when we were dating and in the first few years of our marriage. Later, because we had Muya, we couldn't afford a nanny, so we moved to the current villa. I haven't seen her for a few years. Where did Mu Yuanfeng hide her? I dug out my key and opened the door of the apartment on a day when they were not there. Nothing inside has changed, just a few more clutter. It can be seen that Lan Lan really wants to marry Mu Yuanfeng. Behind the sofa, there is a photo of them. Next to the dining table, there is a knitted doll that she crocheted herself. In the kitchen, there was a rich soup being kept warm. If the photo's style doesn't overlap with mine originally. If the doll she picked wasn't my favorite orange doll. If the soup she cooked was not the exclusive secret recipe I developed for Mu Yuanfeng's stomach disease. Then I would probably applaud this loving couple. But I only wrote the soup recipe for my mother-in-law. In other words, besides me, she is the only one who knows it. But now he appeared where Lan Lan lived. The continuous betrayal made me start to doubt if I was such a failure that everyone around me chose to hurt me without hesitation. Just as my emotions were boiling, the door suddenly opened. Lan Lan walked in happily. She turned around and threw herself into Mu Yuanfeng's arms. That's great. Brother Ai Yuan, I'm finally going to give birth to a son for you. Mu Yuanfeng touched her face lovingly, raised his head, and met my eyes. It was the first time I saw panic on Mu Yuanfeng's face. He probably never expected to see me here. Instead, I calmed down, took out my phone and started recording. When he saw it, he wanted to come over and grab it, but I stopped him. Mu Yuanfeng, think about it, this room is monitored by surveillance cameras. If I check it out, you will lose face. Mu Yuanfeng took a deep breath. He had been in the business world for many years and was used to being in control of everything. Faced with my loss of control, he subconsciously felt annoyed. Molly, stop making trouble and go back quickly. I want a divorce. I won't divorce you, just give up. I want a divorce and I'll get the marriage certificate tomorrow. Otherwise, you guys can expect to be on the hot search. Why are you making a fuss? Have you ever thought about Dad, my parents, and our daughter? He mentioned Muya and I finally broke down. Pick up the vase and smash it to the ground. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Don't you dare mention them. I rushed over and slapped him hard. You bastard. You didn't think about them when you were cheating on me, and you didn't think about them when you had a child with another woman. Now that I caught you cheating on me, you want me to think about them? What kind of double standard are you in China? How could you let yourself go? You are just an old beast who can't control his lower body. After disgusting me, you still want to block my mouth? I tell you, you are dreaming. Either you divorce me tomorrow, or we fight a divorce lawsuit to the death. It's up to you. I went straight to Ian Chingsi's law firm. He happened to be free, so he found an office for me and poured me a glass of water. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. What's wrong? You're so angry. Don't mention it. I met the mistress and she has a child. What do you think now? At this point, I got really angry. What can I think? Is it useful to think about it now? Ian Chingsi paused and pushed the cup closer to me. This small action immediately put out my anger. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have taken my anger out on you just now. He shrugged. It doesn't matter, the customer is the Jade Emperor. Ian Chingsi said that the current situation is very favorable to me. I took photos in the apartment, and Mu Yuanfeng had a child with someone else, which made it a confirmed de facto marriage. This situation is more favorable for the subsequent division of property. My mind feels numb and I can't describe how I feel. When I left the law firm, he said he wanted to see me off, but I refused. I want to walk alone. We walked along the park for 2 or 3 hours. It was a Friday afternoon, with a few people taking a walk. There was a young couple who looked very much in love. While the boy was taking a photo of the girl, he even leaned over to kiss her. Once upon a time, Mu Yuanfeng and I were so loving. I met him on campus. They started dating in high school and were recognized as a campus couple in college. The Mu family is well off. Mu Yuanfeng is handsome and has good grades in school. I don't know how many girls want to steal my boy away. But Mu Yuanfeng never fell in love with me. Not only did he give me a sense of security, he also proposed to me when I was in my sophomore year. In fairy tales, the final destination of the prince and princess is to walk into the marriage hall together. So I never knew that it is more difficult to stay together for a lifetime than to be with each other for life. Mu Yuanfeng took over the company's business after graduation and quickly increased the profit by dozens of times. He often traveled on business and was still signing contracts on the day his child was born. My mother-in-law and father-in-law both favor boys over girls. After my daughter was born, I don't know how many times they urged me to do it, both openly and secretly, but Mu Yuanfeng blocked them every time. Just because he was afraid that I would have to face postpartum hemorrhage again. He held me high in his hands and I lay safely in the ivory tower. But I never expected that the person holding me up had already become impatient and didn't even give me time to react. In fact, Lan Lan was not the first girl to appear, but she was the first person who was tacitly allowed by Mu Yuanfeng to show her face in front of me. He was testing where my bottom line was for this marriage. Or maybe, his ultimate hope is to have the best of both worlds. When I got home, my parents-in-law came and talked happily with my daughter. This silly child, who was protected so well by me, had no idea of the malice hidden in the hearts of her grandparents. Lan Lan was surrounded in the middle, smiling sweetly. Mu Yuanfeng looked up and saw me. The red marks were still on his face, and he didn't look as happy as I thought. Because he also saw my resolute expression. We have been married for 20 years and we can understand each other without saying a word. His face suddenly turned cold, and he said to Lan Lan, "You go back first." The air suddenly cooled. Lan Lan was stunned. Why? Just go if you're told to. Xiaohu document anti-piracy, find the book, machine, choose Xiaohu, stable, reliable, no pitfalls. Chapter 7. Chapter 7. In the Mu family, the economic base determines the superstructure, and Mu Yuanfeng's words are almost like an imperial edict. The father-in-law and mother-in-law did not dare to speak during the whole process, and did not understand why he suddenly changed his face. My mother-in-law gave me a dissatisfied look. Mu Yuanfeng called the driver, and Lan Lan was about to leave, looking back every few steps. Muya was anxious and yelled at me, "Mom, what are you crazy about? Why did you let Lan Lan go? She came to play with me and is my friend." For the first time, I didn't hide my feelings and sneered, "You're good friends with your dad's cheating partner?" I already said it was just a misunderstanding. There's nothing wrong with them. Lan Lan is pregnant with your father's child. Muya was dumbfounded. "Dad, is this true?" Mu Yuanfeng drove everyone away and sat opposite me at the two ends of the table. "I don't understand, Molly, why you have to make such a scene." He scratched his head in annoyance. I said, "Lan Lan will not affect your status. When the child is born, you will be his mother. Our relationship will not change." I looked at him. How could anyone in this world say such things with such confidence? I laughed out of anger and asked directly. Mu Yuanfeng slammed the table hard. "Why can't this be the case in this world? Look at old Hu. He's 60 and there's still a woman giving birth to a son for him, and his wife is still taking care of him during the confinement period. Look at Mr. Liu. He has an apartment in Hong Kong City, where more than a dozen mistresses live, waiting for him to go. What's wrong with me? I just want a son to make my parents happier. If you weren't in poor health, why would I look for someone outside? Molly, ask yourself, have I been bad to you all these years? Your mother is dead, and your father only cares about your stepmother and your brother. I used money to make them treat you politely. Every time you go back to show off, isn't it me who is supporting you? Every time you have a class reunion, you wear gold and silver and spend lavishly. So many people envy you and flatter you. Do you think you are great? They are fawning over me, Mu Yuan Feng. My mom urges me to have a grandchild every year, but I always say no, just Yaya is enough. Don't I want a son? I have such a big business, am I going to give it away to outsiders? Are you naive or am I? Molly? That's enough. Just like your best friend said, don't be ungrateful. He cursed louder and louder, and in the end his face was full of indignation, as if I was the one at fault in the whole thing. I was so angry that I laughed again. It turns out that people really laugh when they are extremely angry. I don't even know whether to scold him for being mean and heartless, or to laugh at myself for being too naive. I once thought that my 20-year relationship was a happy and loving one, but in the eyes of my partner, it was just charity. I looked up at him, and his appearance hadn't changed much from the past, but when I look at him now, I always think he is so ugly that it makes me sick. I don't want to argue about who is right and who is wrong in a cheating marriage. At this point, right and wrong are no longer important. The most important thing is that I want to get the benefits I deserve and then get a divorce. He stood up and pulled the documents out of his bag. Since you are so dissatisfied with me, then you probably have no objection to divorce. Here is the divorce agreement, please sign it. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. Mu Yuanfeng looked at me in disbelief. I've said this much, and you still want to leave? Yeah, Li. Okay, don't regret it. He read 3 lines at a glance, and after finishing reading, he waved his hand and ended our marriage of 20 years. After the 30-day cooling-off period, the first thing to do is to move out of the Mu family. After packing up more than a dozen boxes, most of which were gifts from Mu Yuanfeng, and some high-end dresses from brands. Suddenly I began to realize that I was too careless over the years and deserved to be a divorced woman. I thought about it and decided to find a second-hand luxury goods store and have them take all the items away and sell them online at a loss, and donate the profits to the Red Cross. The second thing is to rent a house and find a job. This was actually not too difficult for me. Although we had a nanny at home, I took care of many things related to Mu Yuanfeng and his daughter myself. I found a well-decorated 1-bedroom apartment and moved in. As for the job, before I had time to think about it, Yin Qingxi sent me an invitation. He wanted me to work as an administrative clerk in his company. I'm not being pretentious. I've been away from society for too long and I really need to work overtime. After a short rest, I went to work at Yin Law Firm. Yin Qingxi Company has more than 200 employees, and there are 7 or 8 administrative clerks alone. My position is responsible for the company's welfare incentive mechanism. The work was not complicated and the salary was not high, only 5,000 yuan. Back then, a bag I bought was more expensive than this. But this was the first money I earned with my own hands. Not long after I started, Yin Qingxi asked me if I was willing to pick up the profession of lawyer again. After I graduated from college, Mu Yuanfeng was busy with work and the elderly at home were not feeling well, so I did not look for a job and focused on taking care of them at home. Later, his income from work became higher and higher, and he handed the money to me. He told me that there was no need for me to suffer anymore, and that I had a daughter and didn't want to be separated from her, so I went to work. Now think about it, one wrong step leads to all wrong steps. When I became out of touch with society and became a woman who could be seen through at a glance, it was only a matter of time before I was abandoned by men. I followed Yin Qingxi's advice, bought a lot of books, and started reviewing and preparing for the judicial examination. During this period, my daughter came to me and said she wanted to come and see me, but I refused. My backbone has been broken by the collapsed ivory tower, and it is time to let my daughter experience the storm. Don't be afraid even if she falls. Mom will try to build a solid safe haven for herself. But I also know everything about the family. My maid, Lu Ma, has been with me for 20 years and told me everything about the family. Lan Lan moved in the day after I moved out and started acting like a hostess. She was young and was spoiled by Mu Yuanfeng. She didn't even want to go to school and was determined to become a rich lady. Muya came to her senses and finally realized Lan Lan's evil ambitions. Unfortunately, Lan Lan was pregnant with a son and was protected by her parents-in-law. On several occasions, the mother-in-law scolded Muya in very unpleasant ways. What a money-losing product, what a break in the family lineage. Muya was so angry that she ran away from home. Mu Yuanfeng didn't go looking for her and even cut off her credit card. In the end, Muya had to go home in shame and apologize to Lan Lan with a pinched nose. That night, she called me crying. She scolded me, "What kind of mother are you? You only care about yourself. Now that a vixen has moved into your home, can't you use some tricks?" Chapter 9. Chapter 9. Dad has so much money, are you going to give it all to others? Don't you think about me? I simply replied, "I'm reading to prepare for the judicial examination," and hung up the phone. Muya blocked me and returned to school early. I turned a deaf ear to what was happening outside. I was so tired of reading the thick exam materials that Yin Qingxi laughed at me for studying like I did 20 years ago. Finally, one day in early autumn, I entered the exam room. On the same day I received the certificate, I received a call from my daughter. She was crying and gasping for breath, unable to utter a word. Although I ignored her for a long time, she was my flesh and blood after all, so I hurried to her school. Yin Qingxi knew about it and said she would send me off. So we drove to Muya's school overnight, and when we arrived we found out that Muya's boyfriend had cheated on her. After hearing that I was divorced from her father and that her stepmother had a son, this snobbish man immediately hooked up with other women. Muya had lived a smooth life since childhood and had never suffered such an injustice. She suddenly felt as if the sky was falling. I wiped her tears and asked, "Do you know who that girl is?" Muya shook her head, "I don't know, I just know that he is from our school." I asked Yin Qingxi to take her back to the hotel, and I drove to my daughter's school. According to the photo she gave me, I waited at the school gate for the boy to show up. Fortunately, God was on her side. Not long after, her daughter's boyfriend Hanyu got out of a Mercedes-Benz. He even went around to the driver's side and said something to the driver. After Hanyu finished speaking and left, I looked up and was dumbfounded. The man was wearing sunglasses and a mask, but I still recognized him at a glance. It turned out to be Lan Lan. So, my daughter's boyfriend is having an affair with her stepmother? Even though these days have been full of ups and downs, I still feel a little dizzy. In the hotel, Yin Qingxi listened to what I said, looked at the photos again, and suddenly said, "Could this be a conspiracy between them? One of them is in love with Muya, and the other is hooking up with Mu Yuanfeng." I called my daughter to talk to her. Muya's nose and eyes were red, and she whispered, "Mom." But he no longer had his usual arrogance. Seeing her aggrieved look, I felt heartbroken and hugged her tightly. "It's okay, Mom is here, don't be afraid." She cried out, "Mom, I'm sorry. You don't feel pain unless the knife stabs yourself." After going through all this, my daughter finally understood how painful it feels to be betrayed, and she felt a kind of compassion for me among women. My education has always been about caring and guiding her, but the Mu family is well off, and there are too many pleasant voices in her heart. She lacks self-control and can easily lose herself. Fortunately, life gave her a loud slap in the face, allowing her to turn back in time. Fortunately, I held back and didn't block the slap for her. Muya talked about Hanyu. She said he was a poor student and an orphan. He grew up eating at other people's homes and had good grades. He once saved her from being harassed by hooligans on a rainy day. The two fell in love and started dating. I asked her if she had ever disclosed any family matters. Muya nodded. "Hanyu is very hardworking and always talks about how difficult his past was." In order to comfort him, Muya talked about many things at home. She also said that she was her parents' only daughter and all the Mu family's property would be hers in the future, and she would be good to Hanyu. Chapter 10. Chapter 10. This silly daughter doesn't even know she's letting a wolf into the house. I was so disappointed with her that I wanted to scold her, but as soon as I raised my hand, Muya shrank back. She also knew that I was angry. Yin Qingxi said, "Every failure is a learning experience. The child will understand it in the future. I glared at him. Spoiling a child is like killing him. What if he makes the same mistake again in the future? Inshingsi acted as a peacemaker. No, Yaya knows she's wrong, right? Muya nodded immediately and looked at me ingratiatingly. This guy. He obviously doesn't have a child, but he still talks in a set way. I was so angry that I had no place to vent it, so I pinched him hard in a place where no one could see. I hired a private detective to investigate Han Yu and Lan Lan's affair. This was a serious problem. Even the baby in Lan Lan's belly had problems. According to the medical records of the private hospital, Lan Lan's child is already 6 months old, but 6 months ago Mu Yuanfeng was on a business trip abroad and I accompanied him. In other words, Lan Lan and Han Yu were misidentifying each other. A month later, Muya took a leave of absence and returned to the Mu family. As soon as she entered the house, she almost tripped over the baby supplies on the floor. The mother-in-law's face was beaming as she took off a gold bracelet and put it on Lan Lan's hand. When he saw Muya coming back, his face was full of disgust. Why did you come back so suddenly? You're not going to school anymore? This is my home, why can't I come back? Forget it, whatever you want. Anyway, the family assets will belong to your brother in the future, so you can study or not. Lan Lan also pretended, Yaya, you're back just in time. Your father and I are getting engaged next week. Which ring do you think looks better? The daughter rolled her eyes and went upstairs. She had long been accustomed to her mother-in-law's preference for boys over girls, so she followed my instructions, went to the study, got something and left. When going downstairs, Mu Yuanfeng came back. The two met face to face and Muya turned away and was about to leave. Mu Yuanfeng pulled him back. What? You didn't even say hello when you saw Dad? Muya said angrily, aren't you just thinking about your son? Why do you care about what I do? Who taught you to talk like that? I'm your father. Oh, so what? The non-violent and non-cooperative look choked Mu Yuanfeng. Somehow, he always felt that there was a kind of pity in his daughter's eyes when she looked at him. This look made him very uncomfortable, but he couldn't tell why. Just as he was about to ask again, Lan Lan suddenly called him from inside, saying that the baby kicked her and asked him to go and see. Mu Yuanfeng was distracted for a moment and turned back into the house. In his hurry, he did not notice the briefcase and suitcase in his daughter's hands. At night, Muya and I lay on the bed and chatted. She asked me what I would do with her dad. I didn't want my child to have a psychological trauma about marriage, so I told her that I would not deal with her father. On the contrary, I wanted to save him. The daughter leaned over and said, Save him? Why? For you. Although mom and dad are separated, you are dad's child and have the legal right of inheritance. I can't just watch others scheme against him and leave you with nothing. She seemed dissatisfied with the answer. If you think this way, why did you insist on getting a divorce? I touched her ignorant eyes, those black eyes, most like Mu Yuanfeng. Because I love myself the most, I don't want to be wronged in love. But you are my second love, and I want to protect my daughter's rights to the best of my ability. Chapter 11. Chapter 11. Mom is a selfish mother who puts her own feelings first. In the future, mom doesn't want you to give up yourself for the sake of the children or money, okay? Muya nodded. I'm sorry, Mom, I treated you like that. It's okay, Mom loves you. Soon, it was time for Mu Yuanfeng and Lan Lan's engagement party. Many relatives and friends arrived, most of them with a smile, real or fake, congratulating Mu Yuanfeng on his double happiness. As a bride, Lan Lan could not be unhappy. What's even more outrageous is that she actually invited Han Yu to the event and sat her at the table with relatives and friends. Just as Lan Lan and Mu Yuanfeng were toasting Han Yu, I arrived with Muya, followed by Yin Qingxi who insisted on watching the fun. It was such a Shura scene at this moment that probably only the three of us who knew the truth and Lan Lan and Han Yu on the opposite side could feel it. When Mu Yuanfeng saw me, there was a flash of surprise in his eyes. These days, now that I no longer have to take care of the elderly, I have started to focus on taking care of myself. I grew my hair into long curly hair, and used the divorce property to do various medical beauty and skin care products. My daughter also dressed me up as a mature woman before I went out. Even Yin Xingxi looked a little infatuated, let alone Mu Yuanfeng. He came over and asked, "You come to the wedding?" Most of the people here had participated in my wedding with him, as well as the 10th and 20th anniversary banquets, so the moment I appeared, many people's expressions became playful. I tilted my head to look at him. "I'm here to give you a gift. A health gift package for you." A brown paper bag was handed over, and just as Yin Xingxi was about to take it, Lon Lon snatched it away. "What is this, sis?" I laughed. "Oh, his medical examination report, which was done before the divorce. I forgot to give it to him." Seeing Mu Yuanfeng's puzzled expression, Lon Lon opened the bag. The report clearly stated that there was a problem with Mu Yuanfeng's recanalization surgery and he had temporarily lost his fertility, so he was asked to go to the hospital for treatment in time. Lon Lan's face turned paler and her hands were shaking. "What do you mean?" Mu Yuanfeng also saw it. He couldn't help but frowned. He snatched the report and began to read it carefully. The more he looked at it, the darker his face became, and in the end his voice became a little hoarse. "So, I can't have children at all? Then, whose child is this in your belly?" Lon Lon played dumb. "Of course it's yours. This report is fake." "Impossible. Lily and I did the physical examination together. I can get the result by just making a phone call. There's no reason for her to lie to me." "So you mean I lied to you?" Lon Lon gritted her teeth and refused to admit it. "We did it 3 times that night. How could it be impossible for me to get pregnant? Maybe the doctor's examination was wrong, and the baby in my belly is your son." Mu Yuanfeng was stunned, his eyes becoming more sinister. "We only did it once that night. Something happened at the company, so I went back to work overtime." He walked closer to Lon Lon. "Who did you do it with the last 2 times?" "I know." Muya added fuel to the fire and took out the photos I had found before. "The last 2 times Lon Lon did it with my boyfriend Hanyu." She threw out a stack of photos, which were all photos of Mu Yuanfeng and Lon Lon after they had a date, and Hanyu went to see her again, and the 2 of them went straight to the hotel. There was also a report attached, which was actually Lon Lan's 32-week pregnancy checkup report. The ex-mother-in-law who had been in a daze for a long time finally came to her senses and rushed over angrily. "Bitch! How dare you cheat on me?" Chapter 12. Chapter 12. Hanyu rushed out to stop him, but as soon as he got close, he was knocked down by Mu Yuanfeng's punch. The room was in chaos, so I took the opportunity to slip away with Muya and Yin Xingxi. What happened later was reported in the news and everyone in the city knew about it. Lon Lan's child was miscarried during the fight. My ex-mother-in-law was so angry that she was admitted to the hospital. As she had a history of stroke, her condition was not good. Mu Yuanfeng's business was not affected at all, but he seemed a little depressed and became suspicious of women who approached him. He was eager to repair his relationship with Muya. However, affected by the incident, Muya developed a great resistance to marriage and men. She was determined to work hard and devote her passion to the scientific research career she loved. How should I put it? The starting point is good, but there is no need to rush to start. I didn't rush to persuade her because she was so stubborn. I always feel that parents are a mirror for their children. If you truly love your life, give it 100% of your effort, and are kind enough to your children, then she will definitely absorb the good side of you. During my internship at the law firm, I worked diligently and tried my best to complete every task assigned by Yin Xingxi. He soon became the best among his fellow trainee lawyers. When I received the company's annual bonus, I burst into tears. This is the first time in my life that I have given myself an answer through hard work. In the future, there will be more and more such answers, and they will get better and better. After the annual meeting, Yin Xingxi confessed to me, but I rejected her. He patted his shoulder and said to him, "Boss, we are all old now. Don't think about love all the time. We should focus on making money." Yin Xingxi gritted her teeth and said, Okay, you rejected me again. But this time, he said it with a smile. For us in our 40s, love is no longer the only option, and we will not easily risk our lives for this illusory thing. We are still moving forward firmly, our goal is the stars and the sea. It's only natural that Mu Yuanfeng wanted to come find me. We have been married for 20 years, and have occupied almost half of each other's lives. After being seriously hurt by the scheme, he almost subconsciously wanted to quickly get his life back on track. He was waiting for me at the company gate in his Cullinan, holding 99 roses. At that time, I was discussing the case with Yin Qingxi and we were talking excitedly. Mu Yuanfeng came over with Rose in his arms, Qinsheng. Yin Qingxi on the sides suddenly trembled. It's broad daylight, where did the ghost come from? The mouth is really poisonous. Xiaohu to protect your files from piracy, choose Xiaohu when searching for books or robots. It is stable and reliable, and you won't make mistakes. I glanced at him. Turning his head to look at Mu Yuanfeng, Mr. Mu, is there anything wrong? He looked at Yin Qingxi uncomfortably, then said shyly, I want to treat you to a meal. It must be very unusual for an old man to be so humble and humbly court a woman, especially one who is so high and mighty like the chairman of Mu Group. I looked at him and smiled. I'm sorry, I have a dinner party related to the case tonight and I can't make it. So, what about tomorrow? Not tomorrow. The day after tomorrow? Not even the day after tomorrow. Mu Yuanfeng's eyes turned red, and he begged me softly, Qingsheng, can't you give me another chance? Me, what? I'll give you another chance to cheat on me? No, 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 I swear, I will never have another woman in the future. I can sign an agreement. As long as I cheat, all my property will belong to you. Chapter 13. Chapter 13. I don't want it. Besides, your mother is still waiting to have a grandchild. I can't have one with my body. No. We only want Yaya. Mu Yuanfeng thought there was hope and promised frantically, when she graduates from college, I will arrange for her to join the company. In the future, the entire Mu Group will be hers. Let's just live happily like before, okay? I don't know since when Mu Yuanfeng became so blind and proud, it seemed that as long as he looked back, I would definitely wait for him there. Unfortunately, no one in this world can't live without anyone else, and not everyone is obsessed with money. I still remember those suffocating days, his ugly face, and when I was alone and helpless, there was no one behind me. Once upon a time, he was my sky, and then the sky collapsed and I was almost crushed to death. Now, I support myself with one hand, and these candies and roses can no longer tempt me. He reached out, took out a rose, and smelled it under his nose. It smells so good, it makes me feel really good. I looked at Mu Yuanfeng, and I think my eyes must have been extremely bright and clear. Mu Yuanfeng, my life is good now, I am very satisfied, I don't need you to add to my bad luck. After saying that, he left without looking back. After taking only 2 steps, Yin Qingxi followed him with a frivolous look. A dinner party related to the case? Who invited them? How come I didn't know about it? You treated them. You're the boss, so what's wrong with treating your capable people to a meal? Yin Qingxi smiled. You are right, let's go, the boss will treat you to lobster. By the way, can you give me an extra point for the commission on the Jiangbei case last time? You've already taken a lot. I know, but I called you for a case meeting last night. You looked bad in the towel and caused me physical damage. I want compensation. You're disgusted by 8-pack abs? Really? I only saw one piece. You. The two of them gradually walked away, and Mu Yuanfeng slowly put down the flowers behind him. There seemed to be something different about his orange. No longer gentle, no longer quiet, like a thorny rose, it blooms beautifully under the winter sun. He finally realized that they couldn't go back. Extra, when Muya was in her first year of graduate school, her father got married again. My stepmother was also a rich lady. She was widowed in middle age and was forced by her family to remarry. Having enjoyed wealth throughout your life, you have no right to say no. The two of them got along in a lukewarm relationship, and the next year, they had a son. Grandma passed away years ago and didn't get to see her long-awaited grandson. Grandpa was happy though and visited her every now and then. However, stepmother had heard about the scandals of the Mu family in the past and didn't want him to have much contact with them. Muya joined the school's top implementation team. She was the only girl among 8 people. She was under a lot of pressure and often broke down while working on her thesis. What made her even more uncomfortable was that the best player in the group was a talented player. He easily solved the problems that no one else could solve, and he could even draw inferences from his experiences and optimize the process. At 1 o'clock in the morning, Muya hid in the corridor and complained to her mother, who laughed loudly. "Baby, no matter what you do, Mom is proud of you. You have to know that your group is the best. You just have to do your best and have a clear conscience. Don't waste your time, okay?" Chapter 14. Chapter 14. If it doesn't work out, you can come back and let Mom support you. Mom just won a lawsuit and got a commission of 200,000 yuan. Muya was stunned. "So many, Mom, you are amazing. Mom thinks you're amazing too." Suddenly, a very small murmur came from the other end. "Are you done yet? My hands are sore from waiting." All right. It turned out to be Uncle Ian. Didn't Mom reject him? Just as I was about to ask, the mother on the other end hung up the phone in a hurry. "Okay, Mom has to go handle the case. We'll talk next time." Although her hands moved very quickly, Muya still heard what her mother said next. "Ian Xingxi, we are discussing the case, put your pants back on. Uncle Ian is so awesome. After chasing my mother for so many years, he finally made a qualitative leap." Muya looked up and sighed. "I also want a muscular man." Just as I was about to enter the laboratory, I heard a noise in the corridor. Muya looked so lively as she made eye contact with the talented player Zhou Wei. 3 years later, Muya and Zhou Wei got married. Her stepmother's child is already 3 years old and likes to stick to her, but Muya hates her father and doesn't know much about her half-brother. After graduation, she stayed on as a teacher and bought a house next door to her mother. After class every day, I would go home hand in hand with Zhou Wei. Uncle Ian's plan to pursue his wife seems to have been put on hold recently, and he hasn't shown up in over a week. My mother is in a bad mood and always looks sad. Muya instigated her to bravely break into the boss's villa. When he heard me come back, he didn't even raise his head. Because after asking, she found out that the reason why Ian Xingxi ignored her for a week was because he had a tumor in his head. It's as big as an egg, and I don't know if it's benign or malignant. From the moment the tumor was diagnosed, Ian Xingxi had even thought about his funeral arrangements. He could even tell his mother with a smile that after he died, she could find 5 little puppies to live in the villa worth more than 10 million yuan. Over the years, Mom's temper had doubled due to Uncle Yin's pampering, but at this moment she was extremely calm. Her eyes were red, her voice was as cold as ice, and she said word by word, "Okay, I will invite 2 more handsome guys to dance on your grave." The operation was scheduled for 3 days later. During these 3 days, my mother took great care of Uncle Ian in the hospital. After the tumor was removed, it was tested and fortunately, the result was benign. On the day the report came out, my mother took the ring and proposed to Uncle Ian in front of the hospital bed. The elderly man was shaking all over from crying that day. After a while, he proudly extended his middle finger. "Mother." The 2 of them went to get their marriage certificate quickly, and I also posted a message on my Moments. My dad saw it and called me. "Your mother is married?" "Yeah, that's right." "Congratulations." "Oh. Is she happy now?" I looked at the 2 people playing and fighting on the balcony not far away, and couldn't help but smile. He whispered, "She's fine. She's always been fine. Every woman who loves herself first in marriage will live a good life. Because they are not daughters that depend on men, but century plants that can get up on their own even if they fall in midsummer, and they grow freely and against the wind with extremely strong vitality." End of full text.